All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are finally here to the day where we evaluate or solve expressions. Everyone, remember, you guys asked me, are we ever going to solve them? Are we ever going to know what K equals? Today is the day where we're going to find out what that letter equals, and then we are going to evaluate them, which is another word for solve. But because there's no equal sign, they don't say solve. They say evaluate. So that's what we're going to do. And our objectives today, so at the end of this lesson, you're going to be able to use something called substitution to evaluate expressions with values for the given variable. So substitution is important. You're going to hear it in 7th grade and 8th grade and in algebra and in high school. So we're going to use that phrase. We'll talk about it, okay? Awesome. All right, here are some important vocabulary words. Let me get rid of that. Okay, things we should already know, but we're going to write down again. A variable is a symbol, usually a letter, that stands for an unknown number. An algebraic expression contains variables, numbers, and operations. Okay, to evaluate an algebraic expression, we are going to do this. All right, to evaluate an algebraic expression means to find the value of it, given specific values for each variable. To evaluate an algebraic expression, step 1, we are going to substitute or replace the given value for each variable. And then we are going to evaluate or solve the numerical expression using order of operations. So you need to make sure that you are using your PEMDAS or your GEMDAS. It didn't go away. Your order of operations to make sure that it's in the right order. Step 3 says, don't forget, a number right next to a variable means to multiply. Right? So if it says 3a, and then they say a is 2, that is not 32. It is 3 times 2, which is 6. Okay? Whew, okay, let's give it a try. So, well, before we go, let me just make sure you understand. So substitution is an algebraic phrase, which means to replace a variable with a given number, a given value. And it's called substitution because you are going to substitute, kind of like a substitute teacher stands in for your teacher when they are sick or not here. You are going to substitute. You're going to be like, hey there, X, go ahead and take a break. We're going to go ahead and put in the number 3 instead. And that's what we're going to do. So that's why it's called substitution. Okay, so here's some ones that we're going to do together. And remember, these are our steps. We are going to substitute the variable, and then we're going to evaluate using order of operations. And don't forget, we need to multiply the number next to the variable. So again, this is 3a. It says a is 5, and that's going to be true for all of these problems down here. All the a's are going to be 5, okay? So I am going to substitute or replace the a. So I'm going to rewrite my expression, and instead of an a, I'm going to write a 5. And because I know that this 3a means 3 groups of a, or 3 times a, I'm going to put a multiplication symbol here. I'm not going to use the x though, because that's going to get me confused with the letter x, the variable x. All right, 3 times a is 5. That's 3 times 5. which is 15. Where'd my cursor go? And that's it. Now we know what A is and we can solve. Okay, so now let's do the next one. So here we have 5 plus B. We know B is 2, so I'm going to replace. I'm going to substitute B with the number 2. Now our problem is 5 plus 2. That's 7. Okay, next one. Let's pick another color. 2 times A plus B. Okay, and again, A is 5 and B is 2. So 2 times 5 plus 2. I just substituted each variable with its given value. Now I'm going to use order of operations, and I'm going to multiply first, and I know 2 times 5 is 10. Whoopsie. And then 10 plus 2 is 12. That's my answer. All right, and then the next one is A, which is 5, take away B, which is 2. 5 take away 2 is 3. And it's that simple, guys. To be honest, you have been doing substitution in some of our problems. For example, in our distributive property lesson, it told you what if A was 3, and it asked you to replace it, or X was 3. So you've already done this. It just takes some practice. And the biggest thing, I think, is order of operations. You got to go back. Once you rewrite that expression, you got to go back to that order of operations mindset and make sure you follow those rules. And making sure you know that 2A is not 25. If A is 5, it's 2 times 5. Okay? All right, so this is going to be your practice. So I would pause here, try these 4 problems, and then join me and see if you got them right. All right, these are pretty basic. They're going to get more complicated as we go. But your first one, you should have got 12, then 1, then 5, and then we should have multiplied the 3 in the m, which is 15, and multiplied the 2 in the n, which is 6. 45 plus 6 is 51. All right, so here are 4 new problems. We're getting a little bit more complicated. We're throwing in some exponents. We're throwing in multiplication and exponents and some division as a fraction. So just, again, replace, substitute, and then follow order of operations and rewrite each new step, and I think you'll be fine. All right, these got a little bit more complicated. So here, I knew that this was really 6 times g to the second power. If g is 10, then that's 6 times 10 to the second power. Remember how our exponents work. That's 10 times 10, which is 100. So my answer is 600. On number 6, we've got 8 times 11, take away 2 times 12, that makes 64. On number 7, I've got 8 times 12 divided by 4, that's 96 divided by 4, which is 24. And then this last one here is 3 times x, which is 3 to the third power, plus 4. So 3 to the third power is 27. 27 times 3 is 81. And then we add the 4, which is 85. And that's it, guys. There's not a lot of practice on this one. We're just replacing and going. So there used to be a commercial for Glade, you know, the like scent things, and they would sing, plug it in, plug it in. And that's kind of what math people say, is they just say to plug in the number. So you just kind of like plug in the 10 instead of the G, right? You just kind of plug it in, you replace it, substitute it. So if you ever hear the phrase to plug it in, sometimes they say plug and chug, which just means like plug in the number and then calculate. But that's kind of what that means. So you just plug, replace the number, and then solve. Okay. We'll get some more practice problems for you in class so that you can practice that, but that's all I got for you right now. Have a good day.